Hello guys, welcome to sportsreview.com. I'm your host Natalie van Rijstrom, and here with me is Flash. We're going to talk Premier League futures and if there's any value left in betting the markets. First of all, I want to welcome Flash to the show. How are you doing?
Really good, and I think there's plenty of value because you do your homework, find out where or what teams you think are going to be coming on strong, who've had a bit of a dodgy start, but now is the business end, and we always love the business end, and there is plenty of value, and we will go through it.
Yeah. Now, we're two here. We're going to bring on our third guest, Martin. We make up the Premier League Punters. It's a show every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Mr. Money, Martin Green. How are you doing? You're having a tremendous Premier League season so far. Any value on these futures bets we're going to take a look at today?
Yeah, I think there is value. Liverpool look to have sewn up the title race, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you can find plenty of value on the relegation battle. Top four race is heating up, and there's all sorts of interesting prop markets that you can check out too. So I'd say there's a lot of value and some really good long odd picks if you're that way inclined.
That's right. Now, we're the first week in January filming this, and Liverpool, obviously, they're in first place, 13 points above Leicester, 14 above Man City, game in hand, currently priced 1.05 to win the Premier League title. Now, I know it's been done when a team was 12 points behind. Is there any possible way? It is possible, but is it really possible, Martin?
Well, only three teams in recent years have been top of the table at Christmas and failed to go on to win the league, and all three of those teams were Liverpool sides. So if anyone can have a meltdown, it's Liverpool, but I very much doubt it. The way they've been playing so far this season has been close to immaculate. They've won all but one of their games, and they just look to have the mental strength to grind out result after result. I can see them easing to the title in pretty comfortable fashion, because I think Man City will drop a few more points before the end of the campaign. And yeah, it looks like that 30-year wait for a league title is going to end for Liverpool, which is exciting for their fans.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, we're going to start from the top and work our way down in terms of futures markets. Top four finish. We're just going to take obviously take a look at the odds here that we currently have. Chelsea 1.57 minus 175 there. Wolves coming in at the bottom 21, and that's plus 2,000. I'm, as you know, a Manchester United fan. I'd like to believe that they can finish in the top four. I have to say, not too hopeful. We'll start with you, Flash. Now, I know that Chelsea price at 1.57. Some could present value, but those are low odds for you. Would you go for Chelsea?
No, I wouldn't go for Chelsea, but then the problem I've got is, who would I go for? Man United, massive question marks. They would probably be the selection, because Spurs at 4 points, they tell me that Harry Kane's going to be out until mid-March. He's got a serious tear in that hamstring. So, again, and that will kick in when we go to the Golden Boot as well, of obviously looking elsewhere. So, for me, I don't really have a firm choice in this top four, because I cannot trust the ones at the top of the market, and there's big question marks. I mean, how much of... so, we got Chelsea on 36 points and Arsenal on 27. Can Arsenal make up a 9-point gap and be... I mean, that's probably the value. The value is probably 1,400, because you can't trust Man United. Chelsea are already in position, but they look weak. Spurs are going to lose their captain and their top goal scoring source. So for me, yeah, I've got to leave it well alone.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. If any of them would be leaning, if you're trying to go for a bit of value there, make a bit of money until the end of the season. Spurs 5.5. I'm a Manchester United fan. We've got an Arsenal fan here with Martin. Martin, do you think that Arsenal can do it?
Well, I never thought I'd be sitting in this position in early January thinking Arsenal actually had a chance. They were absolutely horrendous in the first half of the campaign. But Mikel Arteta's really lifted the club since he took the reins. The upturn in mood, confidence levels and performance has been really impressive. 9 points is a big deficit to make up, but I do feel that Chelsea will drop a lot of points between now and the end of the season because they're inexperienced and they're poor at the back. So there's a chance. There is a chance. At that sort of value, I wouldn't go huge on my stake, but I think they can pull it off. And you can actually, I'm not sure if we're going to do top six, but you can get very good odds on Arsenal finishing in the top six, which it doesn't get you a Champions League place or anything like that. But odds of plus 250, 5-2 on that, which looks like a very good price. I'm convinced now that they'll finish in the top six. Whether they can actually crack that top four and seize that final Champions League place along with Leicester, Man City and Liverpool, I'm not 100% sure. I do feel like there is a bit of value on Tottenham, but like Flash says, they're heavily reliant on Harry Kane, and he's out, so that's a big miss. Moussa Sissoko's out for virtually the rest of the season now as well. I mean, if Son Heung-min has a really good second half to the campaign, he can lead the line well. Or if they go out and buy another striker, they might have a chance, because they have got a lot of very good players. But yeah, right now it looks a bit difficult to consider backing them with Harry Kane out. So looks like it could be Chelsea holding off Arsenal and Spurs, but there's definitely value on Tottenham and Arsenal if you're thinking about it. Wouldn't go huge in my stakes, but I would consider a little punt on either of them. Yeah.
Well, listen, top four finish does look a little bit risky at the moment, but top six finish. As you started talking about that there, I definitely think you've got Wolves 3.5, Arsenal 3.5. That's plus 250 there. I've been impressed with Wolves, but like you said, Arsenal do seem to be picking up the pace. Is it Arsenal?
Banker.
Banker.
Absolute banker. Absolute banker. Plus 250, 3.5 Arsenal being the top six. I don't have any problems with that at all. You got, especially now with Tottenham struggling to score goals. Wolves, they're going to be fighting European. I don't think their squad's going to be big enough. Yeah, I see Arsenal picking up points now. They're probably going to need, at the moment, they only need to make up 3 points to get into sixth. So for me, at 2.5, I think you just bite the hand and take it right away up to the elbow and take the plus 250 on Arsenal finishing in the top six.
But, the question is where is Wolves' priority? Is it ending up in the top six this season? They've obviously got 3 points above Arsenal. I do think it is going to be quite close. Martin, are you with Flash on this one, banker Arsenal top six position?
Oh yeah, couldn't agree more. As I said, they have the improvement has been remarkable since Arteta took the reins. It's a good group of players. I mean, they were tipped to finish in the top four at the start of the season. Very badly mismanaged by Unai Emery. The tactics were wrong, the team selections were poor, there were communication issues. There's a real steely, quiet confidence about Arteta, and he's really transformed their fortunes in a very short space of time. I think they can now go into games feeling confident. I see no problem really overhauling a good Wolves team, but a limited Wolves team in the second half of the campaign. For me, Man United are too inconsistent. They'll play great one week and then they'll just fall apart the following week, poor in midfield. So I think Arsenal can definitely take that spot. They wouldn't necessarily even need to finish ahead of Man United. They could just finish ahead of Wolves and get it, which I'm pretty convinced they will do. I think it's just a great price. That's certainly my favourite bet of all these futures odds.
So basically, in the top six, we've got Liverpool, Leicester, Man City, Chelsea, and then what? Tottenham, Arsenal, Man United falling short there. Is that's sort of like not in any particular order, but that's kind of what you're looking at?
I think Tottenham could fall short. I think Tottenham could, because obviously where they're going to get the goals from over the next 6 weeks. I'm really struggling to see and give Tottenham. I think Tottenham, Man United, they'll finish. One of them will finish seventh.
Between the two, all right.
Yeah.
What about you, Martin? Do you think it's between those two who are going to swap places with Arsenal?
I think so. Yeah, I think I was initially thinking Spurs could have a good run at it, but the more I think about Harry Kane being out injured, it is a bit of a worry, isn't it? They do have good players, but Christian Eriksen's their main creative talent. He wants to leave. He's going at the end of the season. He might even go in January if they get the right offer in. They're not as solid at the back as they used to be. All it takes is an injury to Son and they're done. So, it could well be them missing out. But then again, they could finish ahead of Man United because they're just inconsistent. I think Wolves will finish outside the top six. And Chelsea haven't been great in recent weeks. So a lot of these teams will drop points, I think. Just choose the team that's at the longest odds, which is currently Arsenal, and you get very good value.
There you go. All right. So banker from both sides here, liking that bet, Arsenal. Moving over now to the Golden Boot. Quite an interesting sort of betting market here. Flash, would you like to explain, obviously, the odds that we've got and where you stand on this?
Yeah. Well, first of all, obviously the Golden Boot, and this is a beauty because you can actually bet 1, 2, and 3 a quarter the odds. So listen, put a line through Vardy on a few different reasons. One, there's no value because he's at even money. He's only 4 clear of Aubameyang, who's going to play majority of the season and being a side that create and score goals. So, I mean, that's my first one that I'm drawn to. Definitely Aubameyang at plus 750 each way, because that's like 1.87 just to get a place. So, I mean, I definitely want to be there. I like Aguero at 14. He's hardly played a game. He's now just getting back fit. Now, there's a little caveat with that, but if you do him each way, around 1,400, that's plus 350 for the place. I think that Salah, he's not having the best season. I know he's got 10 goals, but he's played nearly every game. They're going to be wrapped up. I'm wondering if the likes of Salah and Mane, they don't play as many. Once it's all done, I think they're going to concentrate on maybe the treble. I think maybe they're going to concentrate on the cup competitions and certainly on retaining their Champions League trophy. So I like Aguero at 1,400 and I like Aubameyang at plus 750.
All right, and those are new to, soccer betting. Martin, what is the Golden Boot market?
The Golden Boot is an honour that is awarded to the top goal scorer in the Premier League at the end of the season. You'll also see the Golden Boot at tournaments like the World Cup. It's dedicated to the greatest marksman of that competition. And it really should be Sergio Aguero every season in the Premier League because he is a fantastic striker and he plays for the most devastating attacking force that we've seen. But he's just too injury prone, sadly. He's missed so many chunks of so many seasons and hasn't happened for him. Harry Kane won it several years in a row, but like we mentioned earlier, he keeps getting injured. He's got problems there as well now. Last season, it was actually shared. You don't normally see it shared, but Salah and Mane of Liverpool and Aubameyang of Arsenal all shared it because they finished level on the amount of goals they scored. I think Aubameyang looks like a great bet once again for this one. He's second at the moment. He's only 4 behind Jamie Vardy. I think there's a chance that he could catch him in the second half of the season. You never know. What goes against Aubameyang is that he's playing out wide on the left in the formation that Arteta's gone for, with Lacazette down the middle. But I don't think that's too much of a problem because he gets in the box. He'll still get plenty of chances. And I expect this to be a confident Arsenal team in the second half of the season with Aubameyang as their best forward. So he's a natural striker. He's always there or thereabout in the Golden Boot race in every competition that he plays in. So I think if you're going each way on him at those odds, that just looks like a banker to me. Apart from that, not really too sure who's going to make it. Wouldn't mind a little bet on Sadio Mane at plus 1,400. Looks good. But for me, I just think that's where the value lies on Aubameyang.
All right. Next, and this is quite a market that we have talked about. Obviously, the title race appears pretty wrapped up, but what isn't is the relegation market, and we talk about this pretty much every week on the Premier League Punter Show. And so you've got here, so Aston Villa currently as it stands, like I said, it's with the first week here in it's the 7th of January. Bournemouth, Watford and Norwich currently in the red zone. 20 points, 19 and 14 for Bournemouth, Watford and Norwich City respectively. Aston Villa just 1 point above that. Then West Ham 22 points in 16. Those are the odds that they currently stand. With Aston Villa, I'm actually surprised that Aston Villa are the favourites. Well, obviously we're not
Norwich
including.
are like one.
Right, so
like
it's not
1 to 10.
Norwich. Obviously, like Liverpool, have wrapped up their season. But I'm surprised that Aston Villa is at that 1.9 above Bournemouth. Why is that, Flash?
Newcomers, so they get tarred with that brush and they don't be given too much respect. the shout is that their striker, Wesley, could be out for long term now as well, so they might have to go into the market and get a striker. They don't keep, and Tyrone Mings, their record signing at the back, he's out injured as well. It comes down to experience and not being able to keep clean sheets and not scoring enough goals now. I love the Villa at -110, I think it's a knocker. But obviously Bournemouth, they were 4.5 2 weeks ago when I tweeted out, and we told people on the show, get on them now, because now they're 1.37 best. Sorry, 2.37, but plus 137 at best to go down. I think the trapdoor has opened on Bournemouth and they're going to fall straight through it.
So what is our consensus here? We're thinking Norwich, Watford and...
No, I think Watford will be fine.
You think Watford are going to...
I think Villa, Bournemouth, Norwich.
Villa, Bournemouth, Norwich. What you? We've obviously we discussed Watford. They seem to have turned things around. Currently in 19th position with 19 points. Do you think Watford will turn things around, Martin?
Yeah, I think they already are doing a very good job of that. They've taken 10 points from a possible 12 in their last 4 games. And Nigel Pearson really has galvanised that side. I know he's good friends with Flash, and he was predicting an upswing in results when he took the reins, and he really has delivered. He's made them a lot harder to beat. I think the return of Troy Deeney was also a big factor in it. They lacked that focal point, and he's a really talismanic player for the Hornets. So since he's been back, he's among the goals, and they're flying up the table. I think they'll be totally fine. I think if they keep this up, they'll finish mid-table. So I'd rule them out of the relegation race. I think Norwich are doomed, sadly for them. Timu Puki's run out of goals and they concede too many. And yeah, it's just injuries that have affected Aston Villa. They could be the new Fulham, came up in a blaze of glory, spent a fortune on new players, and it all just fell apart for them. Wesley's out for the season. That's their star striker. Goalkeeper Tom Heaton's out for the season. You're looking at Tyrone Mings is out for a while as well. So, I mean, they've already spent an absolute fortune in the transfer window. Unless they go out and spend a hell of a lot more money, they look like they're going down as well. So that's my favourite one. Aston Villa to go down at -110. I'm having that, definitely. As for the third team to go down, it is looking increasingly like Bournemouth, which is sad for them because they play attractive football and Eddie Howe's done a great job, but they've just had this horrendous injury crisis. The only thing that makes me a bit nervous betting on them is if they do get their players back, they do have the potential to string several victories together. So I'd be a little bit worried if I was a Newcastle fan now as well. Lost 3 on the bounce. They're starting to hover pretty precariously above the drop zone. They're only 5 points clear now, and they're in poor form. And they don't have a goal scorer. Joe Linton's not doing the business in front of goals. So if you're looking for a slightly longer set of odds, maybe them at plus 3.75. But yeah, the one for me to go down is Aston Villa at -110. I like that. I like that set of odds.
And the big thing about Bournemouth is that normally it's their home form that keeps them up. And this season, no one's gone down there and really worried about them. I mean, they've picked up the odd point here and there. But for me, I mean, Bournemouth have probably done better on the road because they can actually hit people on the break and sit in. When you've got to go and force the game at home, they've been unable to do it. So, yeah, I think Villa and Bournemouth, they join Norwich.
All right, no talks on West Ham here. Obviously went through a bad spell. Do you think they'll stay up?
Well, David Moyes took the reins and they won their first game 4-0 against Bournemouth, which is pretty encouraging for their fans. Yeah, he's done it before there. He's gone into the club and kept them up. It was looking a bit worrying for them, but when you consider the depth of attacking talent they've got, I think they should be all right. Yeah, I'd be a lot more concerned if I was a Villa or a Bournemouth fan.
All right, so it seems like if you're going to take one bet, Aston Villa is it. Final betting market we're going to look at today is PFA Player of the Year. Over to you, PFA Player of the Year. What is that market, first of all?
Basically, we as players, we get to vote, and the big thing about this is we get to vote in January and end of February. All the players, they put their votes in for their player and their young player and their team. I look at this, I say Mane's at plus 110, De Bruyne plus 400 at 5, Alexander-Arnold, who's I think like 1.16 to be the young player of the year. He's had an outstanding season, and Vardy's always there or thereabouts at plus 800, but I wouldn't expect him even to be in the top 3. For me, it's sewn up. For me, it's Mane all the way because of the voting system. Because as we sit here now, he's plus 110. I would not be bothered about recommending to anyone to just go and put as much as you can possibly afford on Mane to win this, because they'll be champions elect. They've already decided that now. They won the Champions League. He's unbelievable form, and the only way that you could make a case for De Bruyne would be if he has an unbelievable. This is where people fall down and don't realise the market. That if he has an unbelievable time from now until the end of the season, everyone will say De Bruyne deserves it. But what I didn't realise is we voted at the end of January. Mane, he'll be a Premier League champion. You can get plus 110. I'm happy to bring this up again in May, and Mane will get Player of the Year.
So what kind of things do I take into consideration to count for Player of the Year?
Well, this is the other thing that a lot of people think. It's a calendar year. So it's basically from the Champions League final last year through to when we vote.
Okay.
So, and obviously all you can look at when you look at a player is one of the Liverpool players. So is it going to be Van Dijk? No, I don't think it will be. Will it be Salah? Well, no, because he's been in Mane's shadow. So it's going to be Sadio Mane for me. I think De Bruyne, as good as he is, and we know how brilliant he is, and everyone loves him, he'll be in the team of the year, but the player of the year will be Sadio Mane.
Well, I'll tell you what, of all the bets, I am convinced. I'm ready to run out the door and pull the trigger on that bet. Mane at 2.1. Double your money. Martin, are you convinced? Did you already decide on Mane? And I think Flash sounded pretty compelling on that one.
Yeah, Flash seemed pretty compelling, and I don't really want to go against him now. That's news to me, to be honest, because PFA Player of the Year is announced in April. So I guess like many people, I assume that the voting takes place later in the season. I just remember the campaign when De Bruyne was the best player on the best team 2 seasons ago. He was absolutely killing it for Man City. And then at the near the end of the campaign, Salah just went berserk in front of goal, couldn't stop scoring, and ended up winning the PFA Player of the Year. So that made me think that the players had already seen the goal-scoring form that he was in towards the end of the campaign. I do think there's time for De Bruyne to steal that award, but if you're saying the vote's taking place now, yeah, I guess he probably would go for Mane. He probably has just about been the standout player on Liverpool's, who are the best team in the division. It's harder to shine when a team is so collectively good. Van Dijk's been immense. Roberto Firmino's been out of this world all season. Trent Alexander-Arnold's been on fire down the right. Sometimes it's interesting to think about who's really starring for a team that's not playing so well, and it has to be De Bruyne. He's been sensational this season. Could break the record for the most assists. So I was thinking about De Bruyne, but after this conversation, I'm just going to leave that market alone.
Really? God, I was quite compelled to
and the other thing is, a lot of footballers, they have quite, we call it short-termism. And if you look at who's been the best player in the last sort of 8 to 10 weeks, everyone's been waxing lyrical about Sadio Mane, who scored goals, the assists, the manner of his performances. It just, everything points to him, and obviously there'll be a champion-elect as well. So yeah, I think we normally have to have our votes in by the 2nd or 3rd of February. So, I mean, they'll all be landing on everyone's dressing rooms now.
Interesting. All right, guys, listen, let us wrap up here the bets that we are taking at this point in the season. Flash, what are you going for?
Well, I'll go from top to bottom. I'm going to go with, I'm leaving the top 4 well alone. I'm definitely going with Arsenal. Arsenal in the top 6 at plus 250. I like Aubameyang each way at plus 750. I like Aguero each way. Remember, you're getting 1st, 2nd or 3rd at 1400. The Bournemouth, I already said, at 4.5, so I'm not going to be interested in him at 1.37. But I think Villa go down at minus 110. And Mane is my double banker at plus 110.
A double banker. What do you
I
mean?
don't think
Is
he'll
that
be there.
You're doing 2 bankers, or
Yeah.
you're just making that literally a double banker?
Yeah, it's a double banker.
What does that mean,
It's
like 4 units?
Well, it's just as much as I can get on, because I don't even think that 110 is going to last, because we're going to do another show and Martin's going to take the market.
Martin Green, over to you. What are you going for? Premier League futures.
I'm going to go for Aston Villa to be relegated at -110, definitely. And Arsenal to finish in the top 6 as well at +250. So good to have a consensus there. And I'll also go for Aubameyang each way, top goal scorer at +750. I think there's a very good chance of him at least finishing in the top 3. Could even catch Jamie Vardy. Yeah, I think those are the markets to go for. Stay away from the others. And yeah, I'm happy with that.
There we go. Premier League futures wrapped up. Don't forget to join us every Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Premier League Punters, where we run down the full slate of fixtures for that weekend. But Martin Green, Flash, thank you very much. And I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks.